Botox Cosmetic, out of botulinum toxin A, FDA approved for over 20 years. So, talk to your specialist to see if Botox Cosmetic is right for you.
For full prescribing information, including boxed warning, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
Remember to ask for Botox Cosmetic by name. To see for yourself and learn more, visit BotoxCosmetic.com. That's BotoxCosmetic.com.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
All right. Welcome back to the Misfit Nation. This has been a great ride so far. From the time we had the concept of starting a podcast to where we are now, has been a roller coaster of fun and learning. We learned how to get it up and running. We also learned a lot from our first guests. There have been amazing guests that we've had on the show, and all of them have given us insights and pointers on how to get better. We will have many of them back on in the future. When we were starting out, we did it blindly. What if there was someone who could help us get all this technology right, all the equipment right in the first place? Well, of course, hindsight is 2020. I have found a couple of mentors. The first one we'll bring on here will be Angie, who is the host of Too Old for This Shit. So without further ado, let's get Angie on here. So how are you doing today?
Yeah, no, I'm good. How are you? Thank you for letting me come on your show after I contacted you.
No problem. I seen what your subject was, and I could have used this in January, I guess, when I was thinking to become a podcaster, to go on this little journey and be called Misfit Nation. And right on your page, it's called Funny Outspoken Podcast on Misfits.
Yes.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So you have, it looks like 48 episodes already, at least I see on here.
I think I'm at 60. 1 second, have a look here. Are we actually already recording, or for the episode, or are we just chit-chatting?
It started recording as soon as we connected. I can welcome you in again, just so we know that's the start of the show.
Okay, so this is just you and I just warming up, right? It's just you and I chatting. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. I just wanted to check to know what headspace I was in. So 65 episodes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I had to go to page 2 on your website.
Yeah. So, are you, because it says on you, so are you a veteran then?
Yes, I am.
Wow. Okay. Wow. And so, because this on the description, it says like as if there was a group of friends a group of you that were veteran. I can't say it in English. How do you say it? Veteran. So is there a few of you doing this podcast?
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be 3 of us, but 2 of them actually have more intense day jobs, so I do most of it.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. No, that's really cool. I really like the idea of the show, actually, of your show. So
thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll just take a pause here for like 5 seconds, then I'll just welcome you in and we'll start, okay?
Okay.
Awesome. All right, let's welcome to the Misfit Nation, Miss Angie Sorensen.
Hi, Richard.
Hi. She's also a podcaster, and her byline to me was that she can show me how to do this on a budget. I wish I met her in December or January when I had this harebrained idea to start this podcast. But anyway, she's here now to help you and I guess me get better at this. So.
Thank you. Yes, I love helping people starting their own podcast. Like I really have a lot of fun doing that.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So you said you know how to get podcasting equipment and software for less than it 100 pounds?
Yeah,
on there?
£100, which I think is about 140 US dollars. I guess it depends on which day you're looking at the currency, but so, roughly, which is still a small amount considering some of the podcasting budgets out there. So that's that I basically that's what I did. It's under £100.
I mean, that's pretty good. So I mean, I have 3 microphones on my desk right now because I kept trying new ones.
Oh,
so I have a Blue Yeti, I have a standalone toner, and then I have a toner that goes into an audio box.
okay. What was it? They said a toner.
Yeah, TONOR.
Okay. Wow, so you've definitely tried a few there. But a lot of people actually, just like you, they buy one and then they don't like it, or it's not working how they want it to work, or they're not sure how to use it, and then they go and buy another one and another one, and that's like almost like false economy. If you thought that maybe like one was like of good value and you didn't spend too much, but then you effectively end up like buying three times. So it does all add up, especially if podcast is not a place where we're necessarily making money from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Took a lot of my allowance and did this.
Yeah.
So what made you get into podcasting?
So basically, I originally was listening to a lot of audiobooks, when I was on the go or doing, house chores. And then I fell into podcasts, and I really, really love listening to podcasts. Like I'm a bit obsessed with podcasts, and I always wanted to do, when I was listening to them, I was just like, I really want to have a podcast as well, but I wasn't sure what it would be about. And I was like, until I know, I'm not doing it. And one morning, in December, three years ago, it was a Sunday morning, and there'd been a few things happening that year. And a Sunday morning, I wake up, I go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, get ready. And I remember I looked at myself in the mirror, and everything just all of a sudden just dawned on me. And I was just like, I'm too old for this shit. Can I swear on your podcast?
Yes, you can.
Okay. I was like, I'm too old for this shit. And mind you, I live alone, so the effect fell on nobody else but me, right? I was the only one who basically, witnessed this. And in that instant, I was just like, oh my God, this is it. This is what the podcast is going to be about. Because I was just so fed up that there were certain things I realized or learned about after 40. And I was just thinking, I wish I should have known this when I was 18. How come did no one tell me about this stuff? And it came from this place of just real frustration. And I was like, this is it. I'm going to get experts out there who know their shit, right? Because I clearly don't. So I'm going to get people out there who know what they're talking about or have gone through something and come out to the other side and come on the podcast and want to share it with other people, so they don't have to go through it the hard way, learn and fall all the time, and just to bring awareness. And so that's how it all started. And then that day I put like a post out on 3 Facebook groups asking for guests first. And I was like being specific as to what I was looking for. And that's how it started. And then 6 months later, bam, I had my pilot season out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was how I started. Yeah.
That's a good journey right there. And and a good aha moment, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah. It was basically just like all of a sudden I was like, bam, this is it.
This has to be it now.
Yes, that's it. And so basically I cover topic on, so it's basically a funny outspoken podcast on misfits, human nature, and relationships. And so I have anyone from like doctors to sex workers to couple therapists to individuals who have gone through a personal journey. Like I have two women, they both have their own episodes, but 2 women who escaped religious cults in the US, and people who struggle also with mental health. So a variety of things.
So, kind of like mine, a hodgepodge of different guests and different topics. That's good. Yeah.
Just anything that's sort of like, get to learn a bit about different ways of lives, and also just learning things, especially with with relationships, and sex. Oh yeah.
I'm sure they were able to teach the audience a bunch there.
Yeah, what they did, I didn't. It was all on the guests. Yeah, so it's mainly based. Yeah.
I like on your the page of your I guess the lesson page here, the online page. Raise your hand if you hear podcasting and think the number one thing you put on there is Joe Rogan. And I think that's the number one answer. That's like the number one answer I get from anyone. Are you trying to be the next Joe Rogan?
Yeah. Do you know, it's funny because everyone seems to know him, but I've never listened to his podcasts. I mean, I've listened to like a tiny, like maybe a few minutes. And it's nothing to do with the guy. It's just that I don't actually, for one, I don't really enjoy video. Like stuff is on YouTube is like really long videos and it's not really,
Right.
I just like to listen to audio podcasts. That's really my thing. So, so I'm not familiar with him, but it's just it's like the Beyonce of podcasting, right? It's like everybody knows him. Like everyone knows Madonna, everyone knows Beyonce, everyone knows Joe Rogan, and then there's the rest of us. So, so that's kind of, and he's been doing it for so long as well. I guess he's a veteran. Right?
He's a veteran of podcasting.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I knew him from when he did the show Fear Factor. I'm not sure if you got it over there. He had people eating bugs and stuff.
Oh, yeah. No, I've heard of it. I haven't watched it.
Yeah, that's the first place I ever seen him. Then he got into being the host of the UFC. So I got to see him commentate fights. And then I heard he was doing podcasts. So it was a big leap for him to do all that. But I guess when you have that kind of money, you can do it.
Well, the only thing I know about him is I thought he was a stand-up comic, and that's how he started out. But I guess that would also align. That makes sense to then do presenting like on Fear Factor and commenting on fights, and if you're good with words,
You can do that all day long, especially once you start that base of an audience, a base of people that actually support you already.
Yeah. It comes with time. It comes with time.
I'll get there someday.
Exactly. Don't stop.
I'm not going to stop. I started, now I got to keep going.
That's it. Yeah.
So what are some of the tech nightmares that you had when you were starting?
Oh my God. Wow. Quite a few. Well, actually at the beginning, and obviously, and I'm more than happy to tell people, if it's something that you wanted to know, like what equipment to get, when they're starting out, I'm more than happy to share that, anything you want to know. But in terms of tech nightmare, I remember, one was to find out what I needed, what microphone, how much to spend, how much I could spend. And one of the things I didn't realize was the first, I would say at least 10 episodes, my microphone was in the complete wrong place. And I mean, like when I say wrong, like really, really bad place. So the sound was just not great. And there was a lot of work to be done. And at the beginning, because it was so overwhelming to know how to do everything, recording, editing, uploading it. There was so many different variables. It felt like at the time, now it's just second nature, but at the time it felt like a lot. And so I was outsourcing the sound mastering. Now I do it myself. But in a way, it was kind of lucky I did that, because one of the guys I used to send it to, he was like, "Where's your microphone?" I was like, "What?" It was like placed really far away and like not even like in front. It was like down. And so, but I mean, in terms of tech nightmares, actually the worst one, because that is fine as long as you get the recording. One is I forgot to hit record an hour in once. Yeah, and it was with a friend. And it's interesting because I am so I'm so square about, have I hit recording? Have I hit recording? And I literally triple check, right? And the one time I didn't do it was with her, and she's a friend. So when she came on, to start recording on Zoom with me, we were chit chat. And all of a sudden, we're going into the interview, and then it's like, and it was really good. Like she gave me some really great answers. And then an hour in, she goes for like a toilet break, and then I'm like, I checked the Zoom settings. I'm like, oh my God, we haven't recorded. So yeah. And then since then, I'm like, literally, I have it written down on my to-do list, like press record. I'm paranoid now that I won't record. But yeah, in terms of tech nightmare, sometimes thinking I've lost the recording. That's happened too. when Zoom, because of Wi-Fi issues, and then Zoom shuts down, after finish the interview. But then, there is a way to retrieve it, which is quite lucky. And that's all on the free version of Zoom. So there's been things like that when I thought I'd lost the recording. The worst one was in the edit when I was learning editing. And then I would do something and then it messed up the whole track and I couldn't go back. I couldn't undo it. And so I literally lost like hours of work because I was starting out. I didn't know what I was doing. So everything took so long. And that was really demoralizing because I don't actually like editing. I do it, but it's like one of those things I'm like, oh, yeah.
See, with Anchor, I can't make that mistake since it starts recording as soon as I invite you. So I hear there's like a weird playback tone coming out over for me until you answer. So as soon as you answer, it started recording, so I can't make that mistake on that. So
that's good. That is good. Yeah.
But when I do like the pre notes before I have you on, that's where I usually forget to either press record or I hit the wrong microphone. So.
Oh yeah, that can happen. Definitely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now, if you want to talk about some equipment that you suggest for a new podcaster to get first before they become big or to get them comfortable, what would that be?
Yeah, absolutely. Because so before I share it, I just want to like preface it with that. Anything that I say, you can always upgrade or you can always delegate. The work. But like as long as when you start out, you want to find out if you actually enjoy doing this at all, if it's at all for you. And so I think it's always good to just still have good quality, but you don't have to go and spend, tons of money. So one thing is the microphone. And I use the Blue Snowball, which is under £50. I've used it from the beginning, the start. And as long as you know how to do your settings, that's the thing. People have to show you how to do the settings, right? So it's like with anything, you can buy it. But that would be the same if you bought like a really expensive microphone. If you don't know how to use it, then it's not going to be good. You have to know how to use it. So I have the Blue Snowball, which is under £50. And then the next thing you need to get is the scissor arms, which is the mic stand, but they look like scissor arms. They're like the 80s lamp, so it's just if you plug your microphone on that mic stand, it basically stops your mic picking up on it will still pick up, but not too much on movement where, let's say, if you're talking and you're quite animated and you may push the desk, if your microphone was on the tripod on the desk, it will pick up the little vibration if you touch it, if you touch the desk and things like that. So that helps the sound stay cleaner. And then with that mic stand, it comes with a pop filter. So that's three things. You have the microphone, the mic stand, and then the pop filter. And I'm happy to give you the links. It comes there's a really good place on Amazon that sells those two things together. And that's like under £17. So I don't know if you provide links to your listeners, but basically you can go on Amazon and there's like a mic stand with pop filter and that's like 17 quid. And then, so those are the three things. And then what I would say, for when you're editing, it's good to have some speakers. Some people edit with the headphones in, but for me, my ears just become, warm because my episodes are quite long. So I have speakers on, and speakers, most people have speakers. But if not, I had the Logitech one for 15 quid and then I dropped them so many times. I'm very clumsy. I bought another one, which is the Pebbles Creative, which was £23. So just whatever speakers you want to get, basically, it doesn't matter. That's the point, right? You see how they're really cheap? Like, just get any speakers. And then the last thing for the hardware is that when you actually record, you have some headphones. And especially if you can get the closed headphones, like what Beats are, like the big one that close in so that the sound doesn't bleed onto the microphone, onto the other person's track as easily. Right. So those are the hardware. And in terms of the software, that's all free. So the hardware, let's say, like I spent £50 on the mic, the mic stand and the pop filter, 17 quid. So that's 67. And then if you have, if you want to buy the speakers, that's like, and then that'll be £80. And then usually people have headphones at home, So yeah, it's really nothing. And then if you want the software to record for interview, I use the Zoom, I use the free version of Zoom. And again, as long as you know the settings, that's really important because you make sure you record on separate audio tracks. So there's all kinds of settings in Zoom that I show people how to use them correctly. And so yes, Zoom, and that can go for Mac and PC. And if you are going to record just you, if it's just yourself, like solo episodes, or if you want to record your intro or outro, on Mac, I use GarageBand, and that's free. That comes with the laptop. And if you're PC window, many of my peers use Audacity or Reaper, and it's the same thing for editing. It's that same software. So I use GarageBand for editing, which is free, and PC Windows user can use Audacity or Reaper, and that's it. That's it. And the rest is basically free as well because, you schedule in someone, you're using your email, Google Calendar or Outlook, and you can use a scheduling link from Acuity, which is free as well. And it translates all the time zone if you're interviewing people from across the pond. Like I'm in the UK, Richard is in the US, it's very easy to just schedule in via those free scheduling tools. So that's it.
That's awesome. And that's a lot. Hopefully they had their pens out and they're able to get this down.
You gotta be ready. You gotta be ready. You can always just rewind and go, oh. Otherwise, I'm happy to send you the links if you have show notes. I'll send you the names of all the stuff.
Awesome. That'd be great.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And again, what I want to say actually for the microphone, because that's a condenser mic. That's not for everybody, but it's a good mic to start off with. For the price, the value and the price, and is the ease of use. Blue Snowball is really, really, really good. And then you can always go. And then when I teach people in my workshop, we go over other different types of mics. But actually, most of my students have gone and got that one, the Blue Snowball. So not everybody wants to, spend over £100 just for the mics. So I think that's why. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. It's only $40 right now on Amazon.
Oh, there you go. And there's 2 snowballs. Make sure it's the Blue Snowball. There's another one called Ice. That's not the one. It needs to be the Blue Snowball.
And these both say ice. All these say ice, actually.
Yeah, because it says Blue Snowball. The Ice one has extra features that is just going to be confusing, and you don't need it for. I mean, maybe you do, but in general, people don't need those extra ones. They're just going to confuse. So the Blue Snowball, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Keep it basic. That's the best way.
That's it. And then you can always upgrade. One day I'll buy my £300 microphone. One day.
It'll happen.
It will happen. Yes.
And that's why I started using the Calendly app, the scheduler. So
exactly.
It also translates the time that way. I don't have to worry about that portion. I just have to worry about what time I have to be there.
Exactly. That's it. That's to say, it's the same. Exactly. It could be Calendly, Acuity, any of those. They're the same thing. It's really, really good thing to use.
And I found that through one of my early guests. They actually scheduled me through that to interview them. So it's good.
Yeah, but that's good. That's often how you learn, isn't it? By seeing how other people are doing it.
Test the waters a little bit.
Yeah.
So, how many people have you done one-on-one training with, or do you just do like videos and let people watch them?
So I do at the moment I do live group courses, group workshops. So they go over the videos on how to's, and they have, also like they get PDFs so they can print them out if they want, and they can just, go over step by step when they have to set up the recording. And then we do live workshops as a group. So some of them are purely, for questions, brainstorming, and others are purely to go over editing. So we go step by step on how to edit, so that, by the time at the end of each workshop, they know a bit more they know how to do a few more steps about editing, Together we go like, okay, now you import the track, now you cut it, now you copy and paste, now you delete, now you export, all of these things. So that we do it together. And then I also offer one-on-one. So it just varies. It just varies.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you put on here, what makes a good podcast? So in your opinion, what makes a good podcast?
Well, a good podcast is one that you like to listen to. But in terms of like, if for yourself, what would make, if you want to make one and you want to make sure, like, if you wonder, sorry, I'm putting over my own words, but if you're thinking, oh, how can I make a good podcast? Well, one of the thing is like, one is to know what it is that you really want to do with it, because a podcast can be many things, right? So a podcast, it could be oh, wait, I'm answering actually a different question. So you were saying what makes a good podcast? To me, a good podcast is something, especially, let's say if it's interviews, right? So if it's an interview, it's the feeling of, I'm literally sat at the kitchen table listening to a few friends talking. It's a host that's going to really ask the question. You can tell people have a good rapport. So let's say if you want to start a podcast, and you want to do interviews, make sure that you're curious about the topics you're going to talk about. Make sure that you love your guests. And if you don't love your guests, or if you don't like them, love what they stand for. Because sometimes we're going to have to make a discernment, right? Sometimes we have people on, we may not completely gel or really feeling them. However, what they represent, what they are doing transcends who they are, if that makes sense, right? So sometimes it's like things like that. I mean, I've loved all my guests. I've been lucky, but I'm just saying, like, things like that will happen. People are people. And a good podcast is also, when the host is talking with the guest, and the guest says something, and when I listen, I'm like, I think of a question. I'm like, oh, I wonder, what did they mean, or what's that? And then the host asked that question. It's like, oh my God, this is great. I feel like I was there, It's that feeling that you really sat at the same table, And if it's not an interview, or if it's not about that, an entertaining podcast, just something that entertains, whether it's funny or whether it's things like British Scandal or Lazarus Heist or I'm Not a Monster. All of these podcasts really take you on a journey. They're based on events in the news and history, right? So, and they make all the different sounds, and obviously they have a massive budget, but things like that takes you into a world is I just love that.
Yeah, the massive budget to have sound effects while you're going, that'd be awesome, but I can add it in later, I guess.
Yeah, but the thing is, I guess it's also they have the time, the resources, because we can all get the sound effects, but it's the, they have people who just know how to do that stuff, and they have years of experience, and they have researchers to look for the facts, we have to do all of that ourselves, but it's possible, it's feasible.
Yeah, I'm a team of one, you're a team of one, right? So it's hard.
That's it. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But I mean, that's why interviews are quite good. I mean, I love doing interviews. So yeah. That.
Like you said earlier, you get to learn a lot more about other people's stories that way, and their journeys, basically how they got to where they are today, and what they're doing to push forward in life.
Exactly. Yeah. It's I don't know how you feel, but to me, it's a bit like, it's almost like, it's not therapy because I'm not there talking about my deep, dark secrets, but it does feel a bit like that. I've realized, I was just like, I've learned so much, is that some lessons have been, some episodes, I had to really digest it afterwards and process what I'd learned. And it kind of hit me hard. And other things were like, oh my God, this is amazing. It's like an easier growth, if that makes sense, easier expansion. But many things that I've said at the start of the podcasting journey, I wouldn't say today or think of today, but I'm happy to leave them up there because it's just part of, like, it's a journey, isn't it? We all evolve one way or another, whether it's good or bad, we don't know, right? We don't know until we're like 99 on our deathbed.
I hope I make it to 99.
Yeah, but you may make it to 200, who knows? Yeah. But it's it's an experience.
They'll probably have a pill for that here soon to get us to live longer.
Yeah. Well, listen, it depends what happens with the world, right? I mean, we may not want to stay that long. Just saying.
Exactly. I don't know if we can go through another COVID.
Exactly. Listen, I watch too much sci-fi as well, so I'm kind of a bit like almost like preparing for the end of the world almost sometimes. But no, but it's who knows what's gonna happen.
that builds the conspiracies in your mind every time you see something on the news.
That's why I stopped watching the news. I can't. I can't. It's too much. It's too much. I'm just like, just let me know what the guidelines are. Am I allowed out? Am I not? Okay, cool. That's it. What else can I do? It's intense. At the beginning, you get so absorbed in, but then it just makes you sick almost.
And I think that's kind of what it did to the entire world. People just got sick of hearing what they could do, can't do, and what it was going to do to you if you walked outside and breathed. And now everyone's just releasing. So
yeah, it was just
go wild.
Exactly. Yeah, it was almost. It felt like it's one of those situations where the more, because usually when you get information, you feel informed and at peace, and you kind of know what the next steps are. Whereas I think 2020 was just this thing of there was so much information out there. The more information you were looking for, the more confusing and contradicting everything became, right? So it was almost a case of like, what do you keep diving in, or do you step back? And it's about looking at what your personality is, right? What your sensitivities are. Like with my sensitivities, I would get too absorbed and too upset. And, I have to at some point, I can look at all the information, but at some point I have to take a distance, because otherwise I'm no good to be around, yeah.
Exactly. And you start putting up barriers for no reason. And now we're able to, like right now, me and you talking across the pond. And it's like we're next door to each other talking, because this connects us right here. But if we were over there, I'd have to yell through a window to you just to actually get to hear your voice.
Yeah. Did you find that podcasting really helped you through 2020?
Well, I started in 2021, so it kind of helped me release a lot from 2020, I guess, to help me out. Because my first episode was in February of this year.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right. But I guess in early 2021, I don't know, we were still in lockdown here. We were actually in a huge lockdown here in the UK. Were you in lockdown there as well?
In my state, we kind of were open most of the time anyway. It was just be careful, wear masks in stores and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But a lot of others, every state was different here. So you can go from one state to another and not know the rules and wind up getting in some kind of trouble or in arguments and stuff. But here in Tennessee was kind of pretty much wide open in adult rules. So.
Yeah. And doing the podcast beginning of the year still helped you sort of like release some of the crazy 2020, intense 2020.
Oh yes, it helped me get rid of a lot of I guess it would be called anxiety. Get it out and push out some of the bad mojo and get some good mojo back in.
Yeah.
So I'm sure, I know you were going through the whole year last year with that many episodes, so it had to help you.
Yeah, no, it did. But I took a 6 months out because I just had to. I just wasn't in a good place to do it. I had to sort of like reassess things. And also I was doing podcasting workshops. So, and I only had so much scope to do things. There was, because here was like a lot of isolation, lockdown here. And that became quite hard. And so I sort of had to look after myself a bit differently. So, but I'm glad I took that break, because I didn't want to come on the air and be like, Debbie Downer. That just wasn't going to be good for the listeners. So, I mean, sometimes it's good to take some time out. But I guess, you're not. I mean, you're familiar to like real dangerous situations with your background, right? So like the danger that you can actually see, not like a virus that you can't see, right? So
right.
Yeah.
So it was a little different for me. I knew it was out there, but I didn't fear it as much as many were, because like we said earlier, the media was killing people.
Yes.
And they still do kill people.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it's always going to be. If you buy into it, you're going to wind up in a spiral into a rabbit hole.
Yeah, absolutely. That it's also the thing of making that decision to, at one point I made the decision of like, well, let me look at what is my reality, what is happening around me, how are people around me. And I was just like, and I just sort of based it on that, and it helped me calm down and relax. And also just go back to the basics of immunology and pharmacology, because I've studied some of that. So I was just like, stress is the number one big no-no when it comes to your immune system. So I was like, well, then the news I have to really know what I'm consuming, because it's not helping.
Exactly. And I know moving forward, we all should be stronger for this. Everyone should have learned something about themselves.
Yeah.
And about everything from this to move forward and be better people and hopefully have a better world.
Yeah. And that's what we need, isn't it? I think as long as we sort of evolve in that direction, because that's the thing that's so interesting as well. So we never realize our blind spots, right? Because we always have the best view in the room. So I think it has been, as much as, not for those who've lost people or those who lost their lives, but I'm just saying, I think it has also been an eye-opener for many different things in 2020. And so I think as long as we can grow from there and everything takes time. Everything's going to take time.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's the best way for someone to get in contact with you, for you to teach them these, all your tips and tricks that you've learned?
Oh, well, if you want to come on my side of the pond, but then it's only on the website. So yeah, if you want to come onto the website, it's at learnpodcasting.online. So it's learnpodcasting.online. And that's it. And on there, I'll have, the courses. There's also like free stuff on there to get you started. And then depending, I don't know when it airs, but I will put I'll put some more stuff on there, like with the one-on-one. I'm going to do a different type of one-on-one, and I'm going to do like a beta test. So if people want to go on and try that out, it'll be like a special price, because I want to try out the group version, but as one-on-one, like the actual same thing, but just as one-on-one, people who just don't want to do the course and they want to have their own schedule. So a lot more flexible. Then I want to try and see how that goes compared to the one-on-ones I currently give, which is like, they're like top-ups from what they, people from the groups, they come and they just want to have a bit more of an in-depth session with me or help me with them on something specific. Whereas I want to try and see how to do just one-on-ones as well.
Awesome. Well, Angie, it's been great having you on today. I'd look forward to hearing from you again in the future. If you ever need a guest on yours, I'm always available as well.
Thank you so much, Richard. It was so much fun. And thank you so much.
That was an amazing chat with Angie. She has given us a lot of information and shared her knowledge in starting a podcast for those of you who want to make this journey your own. Be sure to check out her show, Too Old for This Shit, on your favorite podcast players. So you know how we do this. Thanks for taking some of your time to spend with us on the Misfit Nation. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and share the link as much as possible. If you want to, please become a supporter to help carry this on. We appreciate you. If you know someone that would bring great energy and a great story to the show, have them visit our website, themisfitnation.com, and reach out to us. As always, till next time, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are the Misfit Nation.